Yes, I want to go over page 5 through 357, number 28. I made a mistake on it at the end of the last video because I was trying to rush, and even though I corrected the mistake, I want to go over it again. The way you do these, you take the first term here divided by the first term here. X cubed divided by x gives you x squared. Multiply x squared times x, you get x cubed. X squared times plus 2 gives you 2x squared. You're going to subtract it. So when you subtract it, you're going to change the signs. So this sign here now becomes a negative, and you add them together. So you get 0. This becomes a negative, and you add these two together, you get negative 9x squared. Bring down the 13x. Divide the negative 9x squared by x, you get negative 9x. Negative 9x will give you negative 9x squared minus 18x, because it's going to be 9x times 2. Again, you're going to subtract, which means you change the signs. And now you proceed as an addition. Negative 9x squared plus 9x squared is 0. Negative 13x plus 18x gives you a positive 5x. Bring down the 3. 5x divided by x is plus 5. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. Again, you go through, you change the signs. 3 plus a negative 10 gives you a negative 7. So you have a remainder negative 7 over x plus 2. All right, I want you to turn to page 366, number 10. If I multiply this through, I'm going to get 15x minus 10. Now I want to go back and put it in this format. So I'm looking for common factors. Well, common factor for 15 is 3 and 5. Common factors for 10 is 2 and 5. The only common factor there is 5. So I'm going to end up with this. So I've given you this. I'm asking you to go back to what we started with. Try problem number 12. All right, for number 12, I get 49y cubed minus 35y squared. I break it up into its factors. Remember, a factor is something you multiply together. So I'm looking for factors that appear in this term and in this term. Well, I have a 7 and a 7, so that is a common factor. I have a y squared and y squared. So I can take out the 7y squared. I'm left with 7y minus 5. If I multiply it back out, I'm going to get 49y cubed minus 35y squared, which is what I started with. Try number 14. All right, common factor is 5q cubed minus 5q. So I can take out a 5 and a q. So it's going to be q, which is left, minus 5. When I multiply this back through, I have to end up with this. The only way I can accomplish that is by having that minus 1 there. Try problem 16. All right. What I would do with a problem like this, I would look for the factors here. The only factors here are 17 and 2, which means that if there's a common numerical factor here, I have to be able to divide 51 by 2 or 51 by 17. I can divide 51 by 17, I get 17 times 3. There's W3, the third power here. This is 4, so I can break this up into W to the third power times W. When I add those exponents together, I'll get my w to the fourth power. So I take out the common factors, which is 17 and w3, and I'm left with 3w minus 2. Right, what you want to do with these is look at them, study them, pause the video, maybe turn it off, and then do the problems over again. I think we'll look at problem number 26. What they want you to do is to factor out -1. So -1 times whatever's inside the parentheses has to give you the -5 of the y squared plus 10y. I think that's supposed to be, yes, plus 3. Well, that's going to give me 5y squared minus 10y minus 3. Positive times a negative will give me a negative. 1 times 5y squared. A negative 10 times a negative 1 gives me my positive. Negative times a negative will give me my positive. Right. Let's take a look at number 32. All right, they want you to factor this. Common factor here is 3x plus 4. You have one here and you have one here. So that's one of the factors. And the other factor is 5x plus 2. All right, try number 34. All right, with number 13, you have a common factor. This factor happens to have two terms in it. The second one is going to be z plus 1. All right, there is a 1 here, but we don't write it. You have to remember that. So your answer to this problem is w minus 9, in parentheses, how to get a z? Oh, times z plus 1. Nice. All right, page 379, number 10. They give you this in the book. I'm going to start off with the factors because remember how to do this. Multiplying through, you end up with a squared minus 12a plus 27. Now I want to put it in reverse direction. That means that whatever I put here, this term times this term is going to give me a squared. Whatever I put here, multiplied by this, has got to give me 27. Well, 3 and a 9 will give me 27. This is positive, but this is negative. That tells me that both of these are going to be negative. And the way you check it is you multiply it back out. And if you do that, you'll end up with this here, then you're going to end up with that as an answer. How do you do it? They'll tell you all different kinds of ways, but basically you're guessing at it. And it's easy to guess wrong. Practice makes perfect on these. So take this problem, do it over a few times until you get comfortable with it. Remember, this first term times this first term has to give you the a squared. This term times this term has to give you the 27 and that sign. It's a plus, that is a minus sign, so it tells me both of these are going to be minus. If you multiply them back out, you get this here, negative 3a minus 9a gives me minus 12a. Try number 12. All right, for number 12, you want to break it up into two factors. This term here multiplied by that term is going to give me w squared. This term times this term is going to give me a negative 54, which means one of them has to be a minus 9, the other has to be a plus. All right, because a minus times a plus gives me a minus. What are the factors of 54? Well, it could be 7 times 2. I'm sorry, 27 times 2. All right, but the difference between those is not 3. So I'm guessing it. I'm going to say this is going to be minus 9, this is going to be plus 6. The way I check it is I multiply it back out, which is in the blue here. Multiply it back out, I get plus 6w minus 9w, which gives me my minus 3w. Positive times a negative gives me, positive, negative times a positive gives me my minus 54. All right, so I end up with what I started with. So it tells me this is correct, and this is the way you prove it. Check your work with. Okay, try number 14. All right. First term here multiplied by the first term there is going to give me t squared. This term times this term is going to give me 8. This is positive, that's positive, so both of these terms are going to be, it's going to be plus 1 plus 8. I'm guessing at that. Could it be 4 and 2 or something like that? Because that's the factors of 8. I could try it, but I know from experience it won't work. You check it by multiplying it back out. You get t squared plus 8t plus t plus 8. And when I simplify it, I end up with what I started with. All right, your homework is page 366, odd numbers 9 through 15, the numbers 25, 26, and 31 through 34. Page 379, numbers 9 through 14. So it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Have a great day.